Bolton Wanderers have been such a mess in recent times. They're loaded with debt, and a return to their former glories in the Premier League is pretty much a fantasy. However, this summer, Sam Allardyce, the most successful England manager since Sir Alf Ramsey, was choosing what he wanted from the local chippy who received a phone call from the Bolton Wanderers chairwoman, Sharon Britton, pleading with him to take over as manager. Big Sam declined, saying that he had in fact decided to become a part-time dancing instructor as he has plenty of experience in this field. He did though offer to become a director on the side and see if he could convince anyone he knew to take on this potential poison chalice of a job. Big Sam was in luck. His old talisman, Kotcher, was available and as such couldn't refuse doing his old gaffer a solid and accepted the offer to become the new Bolton manager. Fellow favourite Yuri Kayev agreed to be his assistant manager, then the rest of the band came together. Stelios Giannakopoulos nailed it. Ivan Campo, Fernando Hierro, Jussius Galainen, Big Kev Davies all agreed to become part of the coaching team. Obviously they have no idea what they're in for. I guess maybe the promise of a grab bag sized bag of quavers if they get promoted was too good to refuse. Allardyce has created a 10-year plan to get Bolton back to the Premier League and back to their European aspirations. So obviously it's clearly going to be 10 years in League 2. So I hope you can join us and see if we will rise again. How do? My name is Tenacious G and welcome to a brand new series from myself. It is We Will Rise Again, a Bolton Wanderers playthrough, trying to combat the debt basically that the team has incorporated over the years and try and get back into European aspirations, I guess. Now this is going to be not like your normal run-of-the-mill sort of, do live comms here and there. This is going to be like a half-season sort of review style set of videos. Basically the main reason is because it gives us a chance to get ahead. I can actually play the games while I'm looking after my son and stuff like that, and yeah, it's essentially just the best way I can do it to get some content out there. So hopefully you enjoy the way I'm doing it. Obviously we've got Kotcher as the manager, and yeah, we're going to show you everything that's going on in terms of the staff members, etc, etc. So first of all, we've got Kotcher here, and yeah, obviously got a bit of an attacking flair. I just set him up to have the qualifications based on Bolton Wanderers, and being in League 1 I thought it wouldn't be too overpowered or anything like that. As you can see, the technical side of things isn't great. Obviously we've got attacking that's pretty decent as well as technical and mental, but otherwise it's pretty subpar. Otherwise we've got motivation is key for me. One thing I pride myself is of course on morale manager, and motivating is what I've basically put most of the attributes into. So man management, youngster knowledge and player knowledge, I've put 10 in that as well, because we are playing with attributes masked, so it is going to make it more difficult. Because not only that, the way that we're going to be scouting players, the only way we're going to be signing players is they've got to come through our scouting centre, whether the scouts bring them to his attention, whether it be the players are brought to his attention through the scouting centre, or whether they just offer players, for instance, you could go to your director of football and get him to put bids out there, but then obviously we end up being able to scout them, or if you suggest players from him as well, get suggested players from him rather as well. So that's how we're going to be tackling this game. Basically we're going to try and do it as realistic as possible. Next up is Yuri Kayev. I had to do a little bit of editing to get this to work. For some reason Big Sam is only a director. He's not a director of football because I couldn't get him to work for whatever reason. There was a few issues with the editor when I first set up the save. And yeah, this is Yuri Kayev, who is now the assistant manager, and because he was a director of football, which is what jogged my memory on Big Sam. And as you can see, it's pretty similar in terms of the level of ability to, Kotcher, which is obviously going to be us, as it were. Next up is Stelios Giannakopoulos. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm almost certain I'm nailing that. But yeah, again, similar sort of standard. They're not overpowered. The one thing you might have noticed so far is they've all got a 10-year deal. That was the main thing. It was a case of trying to get the band to stay together as long as possible. There will be bids coming for certain staff members, and it's a case of we want to try and keep them all together as long as possible. Next up is Fernando Hierro. Now, I left him as he was in terms of his attributes. I didn't tinker with him, and he's probably a little bit too good in regards to his mental attributes. So maybe we might have a few people come in for him. I would imagine he has got a decent reputation as well. Jussi Jääskeläinen is next. As you can see, is not the best, but again, a legend of the club. And then we've got Kev Davis, who, yeah, he's not the greatest, but he's going to be the under-18s manager for now. And finally, as his assistant, we've got Ivan Campo. I did have to create this guy. I tried my best not to make him overpowered. This is what I came up with. Working with youngsters was decent, but everything else is not actually that great. So, yeah, quite happy with how he turned out. And the rest of the people were already here. I thought I had removed them, but apparently not. So if we look at the finances, as you can see, we're in the black, as it were. So you might be thinking, gee, I thought this was going to be a challenge because you've got no money or whatever. There you go. 35 million worth of debt left to pay. 500 grand a month. £500,000 per month. That is going to be ridiculously tough. Now, in terms of the transfer budget and the wage budget, we've got nothing to spend, and we've also got £2 grand to play with in terms of the wage budget. To be honest with you, I'm going to try and trim the wage budget down because we've got quite possibly the largest squad you've ever seen, especially if you factor in the under-18 squad as well. It's going to be interesting. We have got some good youngsters, as you can see. We'll get into them shortly, but just before that, if I just quickly get my, well, I had to say mine, it's basically Loki Doki's view, which is the one I go to at the minute. He's got everything on it. It's got wages and everything. We've got some high earners. Well, you say high earners. £3 grand a week for Sarcevic, who's probably his best, like, defensive-minded midfielder at the team. We've got Owen Doyle, who's just joined the club at £2.5 grand. Ali Crawford's on £2 grand a week. Brandon Comley's, who's like third choice midfielder when I've looked through the team, at £2 grand. Delfonso's on 1,800, and you can see them for the rest of yourself. But there's quite a lot of players here that we're probably not going to need. But the problem you've got is, I'm just going to highlight them all now, is that all these highlighted in purple have all just joined this, like, in real life, this season. So I've got a bit of a problem because I can't just move them off, you know, get them. I can't offload them like straight away unless I send them out on loan or something. So that might be one thing I look at, try and send them out on loan and recuperate some wages that way, because obviously we are going to be up a certain creek without a paddle with the money situation. That's the squad as a whole. The best players, really, if you want to highlight them in terms of ability. Lloyd Isgrove is pretty decent as a Wales international, actually. I don't know how long ago it was he played that game, probably about 6 years ago or something. But yeah, he's quite quick, good at dribbling, good at crossing, so he could be key. So probably going to be looking to him for some creativity from the wings. Sarcevic, as mentioned, is probably our best, like, defensive-minded midfielder. In terms, he's going to be like a ball winner. The striker, we're going to be relying on Nathan Delfonso. Delfonso? Basically, it seemed that we're at Villa. He was like the bright prospect. I think he was like kind of like behind Agbonlahor in the pecking order when Agbonlahor was actually good. And then in terms of the defenders, I mean, probably the best one of the lot is Gethin Jones. He covers both positions, left and right. He's Welsh / Australian, I believe. Yeah, he's Australian as well. Worth noting that most of these players are only on 1 year deals, and you've got a couple that are on 2 and 3 years, but not many. This is the tactic. We've got basically it's an attacking mentality. We're going to have a quick look at what we're doing. Overlapping left and right, play out defence. I mean, we are going to be one of the better teams, I would imagine, in the league, so I'm hoping that that's going to come across. Passing to space. Run at defence, got a couple of decent dribblers, such as Lloyd Isgrove and the like. We're going all out, basically. I've got a defensive-minded one that I'm going to add to it as well, just to try and hold on to leads and stuff like that. But otherwise, this is the main one I've got at the minute. In terms of the competition expectations, in fact, let's get the club vision screen on. They want us to sign players to sell for a profit, so that might be something I'll look to do. I know we've got a lot of players at the minute to try and get rid of, but if I get some extra players, it will be probably in mind to maybe sell on, even if it's just a small profit, just to keep them happy there. I'm going to work within the wage budget, so I'm going to try my best to stay below. I'm going to aim for myself anyway, at least 10 grand below where I can. They want us to win promotions. That means for me, first to third is definitely okay. If I got into the playoffs and got promoted through the playoffs, I think I'd be okay. They want us to reach the third round of the FA Cup and the second round of the Carabao Cup. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how we do there. In terms of the other options in regards to, you know, adding players here, because obviously the key areas we need to strengthen for me, left wing and left back, because Mascoli is our best left back and he's got 5 tackling. So we are going to be looking at the entire left hand side basically, and maybe 1 or 2 other players in other positions. Maybe if we can get rid of some defenders, because we've got about 800 defenders. I think they played with wing backs and 3 centre backs. That's probably why. But yeah, they've got a lot of centre backs. In terms of the main players in terms of potential. We've got 3 to look at that are going to be among the first team this season. And you've got Regan Riley, who I don't think looks terrible on paper. He's got good determination as well, which should help in his growth. Physicals are not that bad. And he's only 17, let's not forget as well. The next one is Finley Hertford-Lockett. Hertford-Lockett? I think, it's going to be, it might be a name change for that. A lot of 10s, it seems to be. His determination's a little bit low, but fairly loyal personality. And then lastly, we've got Luke Hutchinson, who is apparently our best goalkeeper option coming through the ranks. Downside is he's only got 2 determination, so we'll look to see if we can mentor that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move forward now. I'm going to play through all these games and get to like the January window sort of time-ish. And we'll come back then and see how we've been getting on. And then we'll look to wrap up the video. So here we are in, at the 1st of January. And basically, as you can see, we are in the red by just over £1 million, which is never fun. As you might be able to see, though, we've got some transfer budget, and we are currently not spending £10,000 less than the wage budget, but we're spending about £3,000 less. Probably a few things that have gone wrong. I'll get into that shortly. But let's have a look and see what's been going on. So in terms of the transfers out, we'll show you them because why not? Basically, we have got quite a lot of players that have been sent out on loan. I'm just trying to find the area where we start. Yeah, it's Owen Doyle was the first one to leave. He's got the Shamrock Rovers, paying all his wages, which is absolutely fine. I didn't care whether he was playing or not. I just wanted him out of the club and his wages paid for. Sean Miller, he's gone to Fylde, and he is, I think it's same wage as well. Sean Miller is 33 years old. I just didn't think he was going to be any use to us really for how we play. I could have been wrong in that regard, but he was a poacher rather than an advance forward. So yeah, he went on the grand, so that's another grand saved. Liam Edwards, we actually sold to Sunderland for 46 grand. We had too many defenders, and the only ones that were wanted were Liam Edwards, and obviously the ones we could get rid of because they hadn't just joined the team for money, basically. We managed to do that, so that was another good one. Arthur Nahua, I think he's called, went to Notts County on loan. Just not a decent option for left wing, in my opinion. Not very good at crossing, not the quickest. Needed better options, in my opinion. So I'll let him go. They're paying for all his wages as well, £1.5 grand, which is absolutely grand. It kind of sounds a bit weird saying that. Andrew Tutt, he went to Notts County as well on loan. Paid all his wages as well, which was very handy indeed. Ryan Delaney, he was the next defender to go. I don't know why, I just didn't like the fact his marker was only 9. It really bugged me. And he wasn't the quickest. So normally, if they're not slow, they need to be excelling everything else. Or if they're lacking other areas, it needs to be quick. And for me, he just wasn't quick enough. Shrewsbury came in for him for 82 grand. And I know it's not massive amounts of money, but it's better than a kicking teeth. We are in League 2, let's not forget, so we can't expect masses of money offered to come in. Next up was Ali Crawford, who I kind of begrudgingly sold him. It was in August, so I think we played a couple of games at this point. And yeah, a bit sad to see him go. It was pretty decent, but 95 grand from Portsmouth. I thought, why not? And he was on £2 grand a week, let's not forget. He's actually taken a pay cut to go to Portsmouth, which I find very bizarre. Next up was Erika Teng. Now, he's a player I brought in without a work permit. Kind of by mistake. We'll scoot past that because obviously thick as pig shit, RTG. But looks a decent option if I can get him to get a work permit. We'll have to wait and see though. He's only on £200 a week, which I think is part of the reason. He needs to be on close to £1 grand, I think, to get a work permit because he's getting under 20s caps for Ghana. So we'll have to wait and see. But as you can see, we've got a lot of players here. Bordeaux is one that I've got in. I knew that Crawford was going to be going to put a bid in, so I looked for a cam. And Bordeaux sort of fit the bill. Now, the problem we've got is we've got no under-23s team, which is a massive issue because we can't give them regular game time because once they get to over 18, unless it's a friendly, they can't play, which is a massive pain in the dick. Keelan O'Connell, though, is a player that has been featuring quite often for us, so I've got him on loan. £700 a week is a little bit steep for a loanee, but there's not many teams that will let loan players out for nothing. Henry Ogumbay, I've got kind of high hopes for him because he's got 20 determination and he's got high potential. If we can get him out on loan somewhere, get him some game time, maybe he'll improve. He's only 19, so I'm hopeful, but we'll have to wait and see. Dan Unlundaloo, £4 grand a week. Decent option, to be fair. He's been doing quite well. And then in terms of left back, I got a loanee in, Cedric Makutungu. And yeah, as you can see, it's not too bad. The only thing that really lets him down for me is his determination. But I thought it was a decent option. Definitely better than Mascoli, where I have been rotating in every now and again. The next up, I got some of these players signed before, like obviously late on. Like, these are in December because it's a free transfer market. Reece Cole, decent option, covers like Cam as well, which might actually. Now we've got this far into the season, he might take the place of Bordeaux. Ryan Clark's another player I've got in, who's basically just a youngster for left wing. Hopefully something comes of him. We'll have to wait and see. Jordan Greenage, decent striker in my opinion, based on his attributes. High determination as well. Decent pace, is tall, decent at heading, decent at finishing. Composure's not bad neither. Fitness is a little bit of an issue, no agility as well, and work rate's a little bit low. But if we can work on them and get them improved, we might have a decent striker in his hands. And then lastly, literally just the day before this, is yet to play for us. It's going to be interesting to see if he plays as well as I think he's going to do. Fastest foot left back called Vashan Neufville. Previously at West Ham, from what I remember. The most apps, of course, has been the goalkeeper. 30 appearances so far. Nathan Delfonso has got 13 goals in 24 starts, which is not too bad at all. Ed Francis, I forgot to highlight him for whatever reason. But yeah, this is another free signing that I got in. He's been very good for us, actually, to be fair. He's been probably our best performer, 7.47 average rating, which is absolutely amazing, to say the least. Only downside is he's not the strongest. He's not got the best positioning, but otherwise he just seems to perform like an absolute boss. He's a ball-playing defender as well, because he's got decent passing and vision, which is one of the reasons why I brought him in. I thought, a centre-back that can actually pass. What's going on here? So I got him in as soon as I could. So he was like a replacement for the two other guys that left. I've tried to loan out the other newbies, but no one was interested for whatever reason. But yeah, he's been a really good signing for us as well. But he's, as you can see, a top performer. In fact, let's get the average rating up. He's actually the top performer. Alongside, surprisingly, Harry Brockbank, who is actually wanted now by Rochdale. We'll have to see if they come in for the bid. Again, he doesn't stand out. Like, his technicals are pretty shite, if I'm being honest with you. Heading and marking and need obviously some work, as I said before. Key attributes for me, 10s at the least. But yeah, he's got decent jumping reach and he's fairly quick for this level, and his mentals aren't terrible. But it's just he just needs to work on his technicals, and he could become a decent player for us. Yeah, but Dan Unlundalu has got 7 goals in 11 starts and 2 off the bench, so you can see why I was on about him and saying why he's been so good for us. Other than that, yeah, the other performers, you can see the ones in green. Adam Senior's played some games as well. He's had a few outings. So yeah, quite pleased for him getting some game time as well. Top assist maker, as mentioned before about the loanee Keelan O'Connell. He's the one that's been getting the assists. I think he does take corners, to be fair, which, it usually brings a couple of goals. Otherwise, Ronan Darcy chipping with 4 goals and 5 assists, which is pretty decent. He's been getting some game time, so I'm quite happy with him. And then in terms of the youngsters, Hereford Lockett is rocking a 6.54 because, he's a beast. But you can see there's a lot of improvement here. A lot of the 10s have gone to 11s. So I'm hopeful that he can improve his determination at some point while he's been mentored, but nothing seems to be happening with that at the moment. Regan Riley, the other one. He's showing quite a lot of improvement here. Don't know why his leadership is firing up, probably because of mentoring, I guess. But yeah, he's definitely going to be a decent player in the years to come. Hutchinson, however, though, he hasn't featured, and yeah, he's not improved at all, and his potential has plummeted for some reason. Don't know why, just really plummeted. So I don't think he's going to be getting much of a chance. So as you can see, it's not been going plain sailing. We've got ourselves into a decent position in terms of we're in the playoffs, but we're only 3 points away from outside of the playoffs, and we've played just shy of half the game. So it's going to be interesting to see if these new players we've just brought in help us to go to that next level, and maybe we can see us maybe jump into the automatic spots, and who knows. I mean, that's obviously the hope, because we need to get out of this league for a season, really. But yeah, in terms of top performers, Ed Francis is the best player in the world, apparently. Well, in the league, rather. In terms of clean sheets and whatever, there's nothing really else apart from yellow cards for Ed Francis. Ed Francis is player of the match, top leader as well by 4 games. It's going to be some stopping for him, but he has just been immense on this season anyway. So in terms of the cup competitions, we lost to Crewe first time out in the Papa John's Trophy. We actually beat Everton in what was a remarkable game, because I believe we actually dominated the game as well. No, that's a lie. We matched them, but we beat them on possession, so I called that domination. Yeah, all right. But yeah, we've done all right against in the cup. We did, however, lose 4-1 to Southampton, which was a shame. But at the end of the day, look, we'd beaten Everton. We got a decent amount of money, I think, from that as well, which probably helped with the finances a little bit. So yeah, that's so far so good sort of thing in terms of his performance levels at this point. Although we did lose against Forest Green the first game of the season, hence like I said, they're up there. And we got off to a bit of a rocky start, really, because the first 3 games we didn't even win in terms of the league. So we were down near the bottom. We drew with Kotcher and lost to Newport County. Then after that, this form kind of it turned a little bit. We beat Newcastle under-23s in the Papa John's Trophy and Shrewsbury a little bit later on. We beat Peterborough in the FA Cup first round, but sadly we lost to Burton in the next round after extra time, which was a shame. But they had a team in the division above, so as you can see, we've got, we've lost and dropped. We've dropped points against some poor teams. Like we dropped points against Barrow, who were bottom of the league. You know what I mean? So we just got to turn some of these games into wins and not lose stupid games like Cambridge and Leyton Orient, who are nowhere near like the top of the league at the time. And we can turn those around, and we might be looking, a better result at the end of the season than just playoffs. The manager performance is sat at C+ as it stands. So yeah, they're very pleased with the level of support, etc. In fact, dynamics. Let's have a quick look at the dynamics rather. A lot of love for me. No one is against me, but I haven't won everyone over just yet. We'll have to wait and see if I can eventually get that. But yeah, in terms of the whole shebang, though, they're upset about draws with Morecambe and that, and losing to Stevenage, which is understandable, I guess. But yeah, Brandon Comley, we're looking to try and move him out, as you can see there. I think he has got a deal. Yeah, so he agreed joining Lincoln in like a day's time. So yeah, it's one more player with a high-ish wage on the books gone. So yeah, hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If you have, why not go ahead and press that like button. If you'd like to see more, feel free to subscribe. And until next time, I will see you then. Bye bye.